Teaching 93. Love each other. 1. Be welcome, hearts hungry and thirsty for life. Be with me and you will never die because I am life. 2. Yesterday you felt yourself dying because you had lost hope and faith. There was no light in your heart to guide you through the path of true life, nor a voice that would say to you with charity, "Come, this is the path of peace," until you heard my word, always full of love and comfort, and its light restored your calm. 3. Your blindness has been illuminated with the light of your consciousness, and it always dictates prayer, charity, and amendment to you. Thus you have come before my presence, and my word has been like a luminous and saving beacon that illuminated your path. From that moment, you have understood that this light can only spring from me, and you have said to me, "Lord, it is you whom I expected so much. Today I know that I loved you and needed you, Master." 4. Yes, disciples, here I am helping you to take the first steps on the path of ascension, until you are ready as true disciples of my teaching and my revelations, to send you later to regions and nations to spread this faith. 5. The fight will be in a time full of sin, calamities, and pain, and you will have no other resources than your own spirituality and no more weapons than the truth. I have chosen you poor, clumsy, and humble, like a land without cultivation, but favorable to be fertilized and receive the spiritual seed. 6. I have not come in search of philosophers, theologians, or scientists, but of the humble people who have always waited for me and come at my call, to restore to his spirit the inheritance forgotten or misused. 7. Humanity has not managed to penetrate to the bottom of the revelations of the first two eras, but in this one, the third, my word will make you understand, interpret, and practice my previous teachings, uniting them with the present ones. 8. At this time, I was not born in the world as man. I have arrived to you in the light of my spirit made human word, and in this I give you my essence, to lift the faith in your heart. 9. I am resurrecting and awakening you, making your eyes, blinded by the darkness of this world, contemplate the eternal truth. 10. I come to reveal to you what the man of science cannot teach you, because it is not known. He has slept in his earthly greatness and has not risen to me in search of my wisdom. 11. The hearts of the shepherds who in different sects and religions were to teach science, spiritual, which is greatness and wealth for the spirit. 12. I have seen that the law and doctrine that I bequeathed to humanity in past times are hidden and have been replaced by rites, exterior worship, and traditions. 13. But you, who intimately recognize that the essence of this word is the same that Israel received on the Mount Sinai, and the one who heard the crowds from the lips of Jesus in the second era. You will be those who, with your worship and your works, teach that the divine law should not be forgotten to comply with foolish traditions that do not benefit the spirit. 14. Learn from me, disciples. Do not remain in the dark anymore. Prepare yourself in spirit and flesh so that all soon will come to light and my message will be known. Prepare yourselves so that I make my will known to you through your inspiration. 15. I want the light of my spirit to shine in your mind, and for the words that come from your lips to proceed of the Spirit. Do not try to talk about this work if you are not prepared to walk in your words. Spirit, heart, and mind, they will have to unite in your being, if you want to serve as a means for my word to pass through you. 16. The new generations will no longer listen to me in the way that you now witness, because the time indicated by me in which I will stop manifesting myself like this is approaching. It is 1950. Until the last day of that last year, I will give you my word. I will speak tirelessly. I will encourage you, and my most sweet voice of essence and light will arrive like a torrent over my people. 17. Those who listen to me to the end must be strong and will remain an example of obedient disciples. They will not weaken in testing. They will not stop or be divided. 18. What would become of this people if, when some fought for spirituality, others were lethargic in old and backward practical and useless traditions? You will fight together so that you do not weaken in the day, and you will ensure that you listen with clarity to the voice of your consciousness. 19. Live alert so that you are not weak creatures, but strong spirits. Guide your steps on the path of charity, love, and justice. Do not deprive yourselves of what I have arranged for your health and body. I also tell you, do not torment your spirit by denying it what belongs to it, so that both body and spirit form a single will, and over them watch the consciousness that is my divine light. 20. I do not want the world to trap you in its materialism and take away the grace that I have entrusted to you, because you would return to your life of misery and pain, from which I have rescued you. 21. Do not forget that I have come to save you, helping you overcome your weakness to break the chains that oppress, and you come to experience the satisfaction of having been freed from weaknesses, diseases, and miseries. 22. Everyone who rises after my footprint will find in me strength, and a Cyrenian who will accompany him to the end of the day. He who hungers and thirsts for light and salvation will find in my work the bread and the water of eternal life. 23. Strengthen your spirit for difficult times, to such a degree that if you were to fall into prison for following my trail, remembering the sufferings of your master, you feel comforted, knowing that I will be with you in that instance. If you contemplate that a loved one has fallen into the bed of pain and is about to expire, return your thought to me and meekly let my will be done. Then you will see a prodigy performed, as a reward of your conformity and your faith before my designs. Those of you who on the way of life are left alone, remember Jesus away from his mother and his disciples, walking meekly towards Calvary, followed by a mob, but not in his heart. 24. When you bring that memory to your mind, you will experience a sweet sensation of comfort, thinking that I promised to accompany you in your sadness and to put away your cup of bitterness. 25. Pain will purify you, and later, when the time of your afflictions have passed, you will consider yourselves happy to have had the opportunity to imitate your master, and you will feel that you are possessors of a spiritual inheritance. 26. Study my doctrine carefully, and you will see how a lesson of mine confirms the previous one. So my word of this time confirms what I told you in the past. 27. Few are the men who know the signs that a new era has begun and that I am spiritually manifesting to humanity. Most of them dedicate their lives and efforts to material progress, and in that deep and sometimes bloody struggle to reach their goal, they walk like blind men. They lose their way. They know not what they are after. They have not been able to see the clarity of the new dawn. They do not perceive the signs and are very far from having reached the knowledge of my revelations. 28. This humanity has believed more in the doctrines and the words of men than in the revelations that through the ages I have granted. Do you hope that in my justice I will send you greater signs, that at every step you contemplate, to feel and believe that this is the predicted time for my manifestation as spirit for real? Men of little faith. Now you will understand, disciples, because sometimes I tell you that my voice cries out in the desert, because there is no one who really listens and attends. 29. Awake, people, so that you will feel shaken before this voice of justice, so that you will feel moved to announce to your brothers that the law, the light, the judgment, and with it, the salvation of humanity, have all reached the world. 30. Do not see your fulfillment as impossible within this struggle. From now on, I anticipate telling you that it will not be only you who will redeem this humanity, nor who will transform the life of the peoples. I will do those works because they are superhuman. I just want you to fulfill the mission that corresponds to you and let the new generations carry my seed beyond where you have managed to reach. 31. Can you imagine the joy of those who return to spiritual life, having fulfilled on earth the destiny that their Father has traced for you? His satisfaction and his peace are infinitely greater than all the satisfactions that in human life can pick up the spirit. 32. And this opportunity I am offering you, so that you may be one of those who enjoy when you return to your kingdom, and not of those who suffer and cry in the midst of their confusion or of their repentance. 33. I rush to hear your voices for help. When you fight like castaways against the raging waves of that sea of passions in which humanity of this time sails, your prayer reaches me, and my charity extends like a mantle of peace, as in another time when accompanied by my disciples sailed on the Sea of Galilee, and the rough waves threatened to sink the boat. They fearful asked me with anguish to save them, because they felt they were perishing, and I showed them that he who is with me and trusts in me never shall perish. 34. The boat at this time is my work, the sea is life, the storms they are the passions, the vicissitudes, the tests. 35. Blessed is he who is in this boat when the storms rage, for he will be safe. 36. Cross that sea and go with absolute faith in pursuit of the shore, knowing that there is perfect peace. How can you get lost in this journey if you navigate guided by the compass of your consciousness? 37. If anyone feels fatigue, call me. If someone else feels that their faith is weak, pray and I will be by their side instantly to give you help. But no one should go back to the starting point nor resign themselves to perish surrounded by the waves of the storm. 38. Perfect your prayer, because it is necessary that you know the spiritual force that prayer imparts. It is the scale by which you will ascend to me in a true communion of spirits. 39. How the path of one who quenches his faith or loses trust in me is darkened. You who are watching, pray for the world that sleeps. 40. Does it seem strange to you that I am trying so hard? It is that you do not have true knowledge of my love for you or what you mean to me, because you have formed a very poor concept regarding your Father, since while some of you feel like gods on earth, others on the contrary feel unworthy of my love. I tell you that if material nature has been wonder after wonder for men, greater and more wonderful it is the spiritual life. And for your glory and enjoyment, know that you belong to both natures. So my word comes to teach you how much you need to know about me and yourselves for your elevation. 41. On this day it is my will to reveal to you that by the year 1950, the 144,000 designated spirits will be gathered and destined by my spirit to bring to the world my seed of love. Some will be incarnated and others in the spiritual valley. All will remain awake under the light of my inspiration, and each will be a torch that he will light the way of great multitudes and lead them to the spiritual realm. 42. At the time when Israel was crossing the desert in search of the promised land, it was the tribe of Levi that taught the people worship and reminded them and helped them understand the divine law. Even after the established tribes on earth had conquered with their faith and perseverance, it was still the tribe of Levi that watched over the law. Since that time, the spirit of man has evolved and the divine seed entrusted to Israel. They became many peoples and are now scattered throughout humanity. 43. That people has resurfaced full of light on earth to receive in their spirit the new revelations that it will lead the nations. See how now it is not just the tribe of Levi that is in charge of watching over the divine law, but a multitude of spirits to which all those who wake up with the desire to be part of God's people. 44. Here you are, moved by my word. Many of those who at that time felt full of fear to hear the omnipotent voice of Jehovah on Sinai, of those who had left captivity, tears and humiliation to get up in search of the land of blessing and peace. Your eyes have been opened to a new light that makes them see clearly the path traveled by their spirit up to this time. 45. This people will also fight to free themselves from the new Pharaoh represented by the world that feeds their idolatry, its miseries and temptations. You will also cross the desert where you will feel alone and isolated from others, fought by many of his brothers who will try to block his way. But once he reaches the necessary spirituality, he will hear in the depths of his being the divine voice speaking to him of the law of justice and love. But it will not be to the heart where that light descends, but directly to the spirit. 46. When the people are practicing this doctrine, each of their works will serve for the construction of the spiritual temple within man's heart. 47. All of you who yearn to be part of that people, penetrate within yourself. Saturate yourselves with faith so that you may be strong in the fight and make yourselves worthy to be called by the name Israel. As in the first era I named Jacob, be strong for good, for love, for forgiveness, strong in zeal and virtue, strong against sin, pain, slander or misery. 48. After giving you this lesson, my gaze will follow your steps to contemplate the way you practice my teachings and to judge your works. 49. I will give you the opportunity to work bringing the orphan, the widow, the one who has fallen in the fight, the one defeated by the vice, the hungry for light, the thirsty for truth. Do not attribute to chance the cases that you will each find in his path. Think that it is your master who knocks at the doors of your heart. Truly I tell you that you are in the time when your spirit justifies its existence on earth through charity. 50. My voice will reach your spirit at every moment to ask you, what are you doing? What are you investing in? Your life, and if you are fulfilling your mission. 51. Understand that you have a great work to carry out. It is the work accumulated in a long time of abandonment. Do not think that I am the one who overwhelms you with heavy loads. I want you to pay your debt and you fulfill your mission on earth. A mission that is not reduced to the fulfillment of your duties towards your family. Besides these, you have that of loving each other without distinction and serving without stopping for differences of creeds, languages, or classes. 52. My doctrine will destroy the seed of selfishness, thus giving your spirit an endless field in which you can fulfill your mission of love. 53. Day after day I will give signs to humanity to wake up. I will speak to some in prayer. To others I will prepare with the intuition so that they perceive my voice. To those who live far from spirituality, I will give dreams revealing, prophetic, and materialized. I will speak through the elements of nature as they only believe in what they see or in what they can prove with their science. 54. But if they despise those voices, remain asleep or deaf, I will make them feel my power and my justice since they have challenged so much. 55. I speak to you of justice, because the time has come for my sickle to come to reap the harvest in its season. I will pick up the fruits that good has produced, the golden wheat that love has produced. Everything else will be exterminated. The fruits of sin and the weeds of selfishness, hatred, and pride will fall under the inexorable edge of the sickle of my justice. 56. I come in time to reap. Remember that at that time I told you that the harvest should not be reaped before its time, but must be allowed to grow the wheat and the tares together, reach maturity and reap later. 57. Isn't this what I'm doing now? See how my works today confirm my teaching of the second era. 58. I am speaking to you through the mind of a spokesperson, whose understanding I have enlightened and put into his lips words of wisdom, so that the people receive this message as sustenance for their spirit. 59. I see you marveling at this demonstration, so I hasten to tell you that being admirable, it is still not the last lesson I have to give you, nor is it the highest expression of my communication with men. Take this manifestation only as a page from the book of spiritual wisdom, which is the promise of the new revelations that I will give you. The book is before your consciousness. It is my wisdom, and from that book, torrents of light come that bathe your being. 60. You will not be able to get up to fight with real strength, as long as you are not convinced of the depth and significance of this work. That is why, in each of my manifestations, my wisdom overflowed upon you, so that my people may be convinced that they are advancing on a safe path. 61. Take with love this book in which your mission is written, but do not go to sleep in this time of light. What reward can you receive tomorrow if you have no merits? Do not forget that all your struggle has as its purpose the conquest of light, peace, and spiritual perfection. Nobody ignores that to reach that perfection, the straight path was pointed out to you, the one that consciousness traced for you, since you arose into life, and so that you did not deviate from the path when incarnating on earth. I left my mark on it. 62. Look for that trace at any moment, past or present, and you will soon find it. 63. I have always come to look for you because your spirit, once incarnated, has entered through various trails, in which most of the time it has been lost. Weak creatures, you have fallen for your cause, and then you have blamed me, saying that the path of the children of God is full of temptations. I tell you that where you thought you saw many paths, you should only have taken one, the one that leads to me. That where you looked at temptations, they were only fruits that you had to take with knowledge and respect. Can you conceive that your Father created something that had the purpose of tempting you to sin? 64. Tomorrow, when humanity frees itself from its burden of ignorance and materialism, it will find that which she considered a stumbling block was just a stepping stone for her spirit to ascend and have experience. Yet what she believed to be an abyss was nothing but a test to strengthen her. Then you will discover that what man has considered as a reason for his falls and his mistakes, they are the means to help him in his improvement. Before these teachings, gone will be all the superstitions that have been created around evil. 65. How much strength and how much beauty you will discover when you open your eyes to the light of this light. All your ignorance, which made him misinterpret, making him fall into errors, also the blame towards him who created all, will disappear from the mind of man. 66. As long as humanity does not understand the true spiritual law or feels drawn to that path, will still fall into religious fanaticism. You will have to find your life full of stumbling blocks, uncertainty, and shades. 67. When will you penetrate the study of my doctrine, which is like a divine sun that illuminates the spirit and cannot ever be hidden? According to you, this is impossible, but I tell you that soon this light will illuminate all beings. 68. The voice of the one whom you called Rabbi of Galilee is the same that you are currently hearing. And if at that time I told you a man does not live by bread alone, but by every word of God, now I approach to tell you that man must not only sustain himself on science or human knowledge, but on divine essence, because in him dwells the spirit that only feeds on love, wisdom, and peace. Feed and comfort yourselves, O my disciples, so that you may carry the true life in you. 69. Times of struggle and bitterness are approaching, and it is necessary that you be prepared so that you bear witness to my doctrine, with your faith and firmness in the fulfillment of my teachings. 70. Sometimes my unbelieving disciples would like me to show them the body that I carried in the second era, the pierced and bleeding hands, to believe that I am again among my people. And in their hearts they tell me, how can we bear witness to you, if we have not seen you? But I ask you, do you know my words of that time in which I announced to return? When did I announce that I would come as a man? You need to see to believe, because you are more flesh than spirit. On the other hand, there are those who, without knowing the prophecies, feel my presence and understand the truth. Those are the ones who keep their minds and hearts clean. 71. The Spirit is endowed with a glance superior to the human, so that it is he who discovers the truth and sees in it the face of a Father. How can you discover the divine with your senses, if you have not sensed it before, your spirit? These words are not a reproach to your scant faith, nor do I reject you because you doubt. For him, on the contrary, it is precisely those extinguished lamps that I have been looking for to light them with the fire of love of my spirit. 72. There are those who shudder with joy when they hear this word. They are those who feel my presence. 73. Come to me, peoples and nations of the world. Come, men of all the races. My law waits you in the kingdom of peace, so that you form a single people, the people of God. 74. Virtue manifests itself only in tests. The light shines brightest in darkness. The light does not shine in the light. Thus it was necessary for your spirit to be tested and refined, because your spirit had a beginning, and in its innocence it lacked merit. It lacked experience, development, and perfection. 75. But when your spirit did not want to acquire all these things at the side of the Father, it descending by his own will to dwellings and paths not created by me, until falling into an artificial and false life where, for divine charity, a low scale was entrusted to him, so that from it he could ascend to a higher one, and thus continue along the 7 steps of the scale of perfection, until arriving as a perfect and pure spirit before the presence of a Father, filled with light, evolved through the development of all his gifts, perfected in all his powers, full of merits in the struggle, full of knowledge of himself, his Father in life, aware of where it had sprouted, why it had been created, and where it had arrived. 76. The infinite number of spirits that, like yours, inhabit different dwellings, are united to each other by a superior force which is that of love. 77. God has his great servants, jealous and obedient, gifted with delicate and great positions to rule the things of the Lord. And when you enter the path of perfect obedience, of perfect harmony with your Creator, then you will realize what the Father is now telling you. 78. You will then see how before coming to me, you will find many of your brothers elevated into great spirits, and you will be confused in spirit, thinking that you are before the presence of your God at seeing them so big. And when your spirit bows before them, you will hear the humble voices of those beings who will say to you, lift up your face, that I, like you, am only a servant of the Father. 79. You will continue advancing, and you will meet again even greater beings. And then you will ask them, are you, by chance, my Lord, to worship you? And they will tell you, no. Take my hand and I will lead you. 80. And so you will go along the path of true life, of perfect harmony, advancing on the precious path of progress of the Spirit, until one day, when your spirit is already magnified by humility and virtue, you will raise your spiritual gaze to infinity, and you will receive the surprise of finally contemplating the one who has created, who has loved you before you existed, the one who will love you forever, your God and celestial Father. My peace be with you.